Hello, everyone, and welcome to another thrilling episode of Forsaken. With me, as always, is our lovely God Killer, and I think with that, please, God Killer, introduce yourself to the lovely audience out there.
Hello, everyone. My name is Humna. I use any and all pronouns, and I am going to be playing Omera, who uses they/they pronouns, your God Killer today, who last that we saw from was being contested for the title of God of Death and has a lot to think about in that regard. But with that, I will just pass it over to the rival himself, Chris Cologne.
To say contempting the title means that you earned it, and you clearly didn't. But with that in mind, hello, my name is Chris, and I will be your god for these preceding evenings. With that, we got a wonderful show for you today, folks, but before we start, as always, content warnings in case you missed them. For this series and episode in particular, it contains fantasy violence, gore, blood, familial struggles, drug abuse, severe weather, references and romance and references, there we go, to sexual entanglements, monsters and monstrosities, depictions of experimentation, depictions of epidemic and diseases, trauma, imperialism, classism, depictions of war, and of imprisonment. If you type !CW in the chat, you can find all those for your viewing pleasure, just to see where they are, and keep that in mind. Also, if you want to follow either me or the lovely God Killer we have with us, you can type in !cast to see where you can find us on the internets while it is still alive. But, with that in mind, God Killer, are we ready for
every time you say that, it just sounds like you're threatening to destroy the internet. And
it's not, the internet's doing it itself. I'm just I'm the bunker head that's just waiting.
It's just so ominous every time. You're like, as long as it's there, it's like, is this a threat? Are you about to?
Every day I go on, I lose a little bit more humanity each time.
You know what?
I'm just waiting.
That's so fair. But yeah, internet apocalypse aside, yes, I am ready to go.
Fantastic. We find ourselves not anywhere on the ground, but rather in the sky. Where we last left off, our God Killer created another God Killer. Impossible, really, but when you break a curse, you inflict its wrath. But that was not all. Mara, we zoom back on you as you have your own little room in this sort of massive airship here. And at the moment, in one of the nearby bathrooms, you find yourself coughing up more blood into the nearby sink. And you can see that the site of infection now, more metal has begun to overcome your skin. At this point, I will say, probably is overtaking your shoulder where it is happening. And you look a little bit tired in the eyes, a little sickly. And some of your veins, you swear, glow a slight neon every so often. With that in mind, what's going through our head, God Killer?
Omera is exhausted, is tired from the strain of having fought someone else with similar powers to themselves. Ray has not felt that level of resistance from another person at all. It's almost, and this is the part that Omera has been trying really hard, I think, this whole time to really push down and not think too hard about, but it's almost like having fought a fledgling god. And they don't like to think about that because that means that Omera would have created, without meaning to, completely by accident, but would have created that god himself. And that's a terrifying thought, given all that Titus seems to want to do. It's just I don't even know if it's revenge or just hubris or what the motivating factor is for Titus, but honestly, it doesn't even matter because the outcome of it all is surely everybody's destruction, and Omera can't help but feel guilty about being the reason that we are one step closer to that being a reality. And so they are gripping the sink, the edges of the sink, their head looking down into it, their hair falling in, and the ends of their hair kind of mixing in with the blood that Ray has just coughed up. And Ray looks up at themselves in the mirror, at Ray reflection, and there is this distance and determination in their dark brown eyes as they vow to themselves that if they really want to help people, that they have to be willing to, there has to be a certain ego death that goes with that. And maybe being the god of death, maybe that was ego all along.
It is said that we often create the things we dread. You may have created Titus, but then again someone created you, and then again someone created Omera. A circle. The thought that is in your mind, but soon you hear knocking on a door, very loud and mechanical. Josiah kind of speaks into a muffled, are you alright in there?
Yeah, just recovering. Is something the matter?
Well, yes, but if you are sick, no pun intended, but do you need a doctor? As they're still on the outside of the door, just speaking through it.
Omera, I think, quickly turns on the tap, like rinses the sink as best as Ray can, and will dry off Rare's hands and open the door. And I think Josiah, I'm not sure if Josiah has seen yet the state that Omera is in, but if this is the first time, I think she might be a little bit taken aback by the way in which, especially the striking way in which the infection has spread. I don't think that a doctor will be able to help me at this moment, so...
By the gods above, what happened to you?
Titus
You look
happened
worse
to
than
me.
Aiden.
Worse than Aiden? What's wrong with Aiden?
Well, no, I mean, I've seen this before with him, but you just seem to have accelerated, in a sense, maybe even surpassing him a bit.
Yeah, we have Titus to thank for that.
Maybe you should just stay here.
No, it's okay. I'll be okay. Thank you, though. Really. And I've got some stuff anyway. Is everybody else alright?
Yeah, there's a couple of boys that are banged up from the robbery, but we're fine. We're fine. We're just more worried about you, love.
And Omera's a little taken aback by the show of affection from Josiah, which has never happened between the two of them before. Josiah has always been so, not even standoffish, but like straight up aggressive. And so...
This is my rebel cell. Get out of here.
And so Omera, like, is kind of surprised for a second and settles into it. You lead the way, and I'll follow. And as we're sort of like walking in the airship towards whatever room that people have congregated in to talk about our next plans, Omera, I think, will pull out from like a belt where they keep some like basic herbs and salves and whatnot. I think is going to pull out like a root of some kind and kind of like roll it up in rare hand and then start like chewing on it as we go, as sort of an attempt to waylay some of these symptoms, knowing that nothing is really going to be more than just like a band-aid for temporary relief.
Doing that, rolling up, and as you do begin to lock up and go out, you begin to get a little bit more of a sense, and we have the audience as well, of what this ship is. Codename the Icarus, from what you can see on various plaques denoting, the make and model, and, would have been christening of the ship. You can see that this place is full to the brim of rebels from various outposts here. You can see it isn't just you guys anymore. There is the rebels from Gali. You also notice that there are some of the Jaws of Johanna that are walking about. Some of the Son of Cortexes are here as well. You would have had a little bit more members here to help out, but you decide not to let them in on the party. And with that, maybe a little bit understaffed at the moment, but nothing to worry about at the moment, as rest of that is filled with the survivors of Mali. As you walk about, seeing all these members working together, you get to what looks like to be the main bridge, and you can see that it is this 2-level bronze and like copper metal as shining off. From the front window, you see this large panel of glass that you can see everything that's in front of you. But in the center, you can see just below the helmsman, who's very much in the seat, just moving up and down, side to side, just navigating, you see Aiden, along with looks like to be these hologramic crystal-like images of the other leaders from the Jaws, the Gali and the Sons of Cortex, as he seems to be finishing a conversation with them, and particularly they've been kind of looking over a map of the continent, or the region where the Empire is. It seems that maybe Aiden's making plans, but before you're really able to get into it, the conversation kind of finishes short. Unless Omera wants to grab anything from this, it's gonna cut short and they'll just move on to the next conversation.
I think Omera's going to try to listen in on whatever small snippet of the conversation that they might be able to, but they're not gonna make a big push for it, especially because I think in rare current condition, Ray probably can't.
Yeah, from what you can get, not much. It seems to be coordinating, but at the moment you see they were all trying to meet each other in one place for one reason or the other. It seems that a meeting is forming, which is, in your mind, a pretty big deal. Rebels like to do their own little thing in their own little regions, and because, everybody has their own plans for saving the world. But with this instance here, it's a big shift. But messaging goes off, and Aiden slowly turns around and goes, "Hey, how are you feeling?"
I've felt better. I won't lie. Definitely had healthier days, but it's probably a wonder that I got off the way that I did. Thanks to you, in part, by the way.
We can consider ourselves even, I guess.
I guess so. How are you? What, are the rebels all meeting for something?
I'm trying to get a little club meeting together, but first and foremost, we gotta get your people out.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and you see Jasiah kind of very much on the side of oh my god, get a room, you two. As you see they kind of go over and begin to dial with the map to get whatever meeting is happening next, as the comfort of oh, you care, immediately goes out the fucking window.
It doesn't last. It was too good to be true.
I don't care. And with that, Aiden kind of goes, yeah, I'm good. And we did make it past several of the checkpoints thanks to the lovely code you gave us. So we should be within the capital soon. And I think we got a little bit of a plan and some info we were able to gather, if you're up to it.
Yeah. No, I want to get in there and get everybody out as soon as possible. What's the plan?
Fantastic. Yeah, and you see it come over. You see that Jasea begins to pull up what looks like to be kind of like a hologramic schematic of the city. This very wondrous place. The capital is usually referred to the capital just for shortcut, but the legal or the name that it's used is known as Harken's Sword. This was the first place in which the empire was formed, and with it, it was built up from there. From it, you see that it focuses on what looks like to be, maybe in the top left corner of the city, a large tower that spirals up and is so imposing, but yet so beautiful. And you can see that at this point, Aiden goes, "We believe that the remaining citizens of Mali that did live are somewhere in the Tower of Reminiscence. This is the sort of home of Sabis, one of the Archons, as you know. We think that they're being held there for experimentation. Problem is, we don't know where."
Like where inside the tower or where in the region around the tower?
I would say somewhere in the tower. They wouldn't be around it because that just leaves room for somebody to escape and run to the city. If they're in the tower, they're secured, and if Titus, the Pontifectus, vizier, I don't think he would want anybody leaving, per se.
That's a good point.
Good news and bad news. Bad news is we don't know where they are, but good news, luckily for us, the day we are going to be arriving is going to be Unification Day. That is the day the Empire was formed, and they had their little party and celebration to do so. Good news for us, because it means a lot of the security across the city is not going to be, it's going to be spread out, really. They're going to be dealing with drunkards, people celebrating and events. They won't be in the heart or near the tower. And on top of that, it looks like our little bad boy here is hosting the party for this year's festivities. So, Jasea had a plan that I'll let them finish it off. Jasea kind of butts in. "Well, since you two are such a lovely couple, we thought it would be more than normal, especially given your background as a former employee of the Empire, to act as the lords." As you see, they kind of pull out a piece of paper that they were kind of writing on. They were some lords of somewhat in a region of Elderland. Pretty much you'll act undercover as lords and ladies and all that, and infiltrate the party. You can have a little wine, dance, and whatnot.
I'm sorry, you want Aiden and myself to act as nobility? And Omera looks a little bit like incredulous at Jasea. Like, looks at themselves, looks at Aiden, looks at Jasea like, really?
You see Aiden go, I literally have noble blood in me. Like, you, not to be mean, you lived in a shack. Like, if anything.
I'm aware, but it's been a long time since you've been nobility.
I'm a good actor. You see, just like he can be the strong Thailand type, the defender of the faith kind of thing. You could be the talker, Omera, if you think you can talk.
I suppose if this is the best plan that we've got, then we will make the best of it. Perhaps better if we aren't there for very long. If we're kind of in and out as much as possible.
Oh yes, I would suggest you do spend a number of time mingling, make sure your faces are a little bit seen. It's a masquerade, so you don't have to actually show your face. Benefiting your marks there, Omera. Nobody has to see your mug. And with that, in a sense, nobody has to see any of your faces. But the other thing, you maybe will be able to find out where they're being held. You can use the party as a distraction. They usually give a big speech. That might be a prime time to go about investigating, doing your thing. Suggestions again. I'll leave it up to you. We do have some clothes of a formal attire that you can choose from downstairs, so it's not too bad of a plan.
I suppose not, and if I'm being perfectly honest, I've always wanted to attend a Unification Day ball. I just, well, for obvious reasons, I've just never been invited, so.
Dave, wonderful! You get to live your dreams of being a handsome, pretty, whatever floats your boat, noble. You get to feel the air of nobility and wealth. It is intoxicating, I will say. Watch yourself. But when you are finally find wherever these prisoners are, we have this here. You see they hand you a number of runes. It's a makeshift arcane gate. You can use it to connect this portal that we've kind of made with these materials here to the main portal that we have within the airship. Pretty much will get you in here right quick. You won't have to worry too much about people.
Omera nods and just kind of looks at all of the different materials that we have with the plan laid out. And I assume we have some sort of map of the tower, right, to help us know.
You have you don't have the map. You don't have the inn. Sort of the inn. You do notice that where this party is, it is a balcony kind of area, so it's a little bit very more open. There's a garden area. It's kind of like a weird, it's this large tower, and then this little bulge in the middle of it that's kind of around. Yeah. Fucking immature. It's in the middle. It's kind of a large patio. There we go. That's there. I hate you. So
You're the one who said it, not me.
I know, and I was like,
that's on you,
and
Chris.
I can't take
that's
this
on
back.
you.
Yeah, so you notice there's a patio area that's kind of in there where there's a little bit more greenery and foliage. Hence why they're using it for the party.
Okay. Yeah, I think Omera will look at this very crude, not detailed map of the area, and I think notices the big patio kind of section in the middle, and will kind of point it out to Aiden. I assume that this is where a lot of the guests will be congregated for the duration of the ball. And so I imagine that, well, if I was trying to keep people hidden in this tower and I had a big party planned, that means that the people must either be closer to the top or closer to the bottom. And given that people, I assume, will be entering from the bottom, then, well, the only really option then is the top of the tower.
Smart. So we get in, we act like a bunch of rich assholes, and then when some speech is going down and where some ridiculous dance happens, we can just break off and try to see clues and whatnot. I think that's a solid plan, at least. Yeah. If we can't find anything, we can just leave the same way we came in.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody should think anything of it. If we are stopped by anybody, we can just say that we were exploring, having a look around, getting a chance to see Sabs's tower for the first time. Now that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity,
Yes, we can act like star-studded tourist. As you see, there's a bit of, again, this, while not on the outside, does it seem too difficult, at a personal level, for Aiden being with these people responsible for a lot of his torment, it's a little bit hard for him. But he's kind of the better shot at this. As Azul and Chisea are going to be kind of the more martial people on the outside in case anything happens.
Yeah, I think seeing that distress and understanding where it's coming from, Omera will just kind of reach out and very gently and reassuringly squeeze Aiden's hand without saying anything or bringing any further attention to the way that he's feeling, but just sort of as a acknowledgement of kind of how difficult this must be for him.
kind of takes your hand. You should go get dressed. We should be arriving at the night, and I know, especially with the attire you choose, you may take a little bit longer than me.
Sure. I'm not really sure what that means. Omera like hasn't seen all the outfits that are there to be chosen yet, so but they sort of nod and head in the direction of where the closet is or wherever these sort of things are being kept to get ready.
I think, but at first it's like I'm just close, but you notice that this is a little bit more hard-hitting for you, as this is kind of more Isabella's wardrobe. You can see that this was kind of the stuff left over, that this was primarily going to be an airship of their own, and especially with the duties they have as an Archon, they may need to dress up or to very much be someone else for a moment. And you can see that a lot of what is here belonged to your old mentor. Luckily it does fit, but it does kind of hurt.
I can't believe they're making me fucking rob the belongings of my mentor.
Hey, it's not your fault. It's Titus's fault.
Yeah, and that motherfucker's gonna die because of it.
But you have a wonderful selection of clothes here. And I'll say you pick it. You don't have to say anything yet. Is there any last minute things you want to do on the ship before we cut to the night of?
Given that this is Isabella's airship, I assume that there is like in different rooms and whatnot. Like she must have like had stuff in here, right? I mean, if she had a closet of clothes, then she must have had other things as well. Yeah. And so if we have any time before we need to like go to the masquerade, Omera would like to spend just like whatever time we have looking through some of the rooms to see if I can find anything that had like information about like what the Archons have been up to lately, like what they're kind of like more political, like on the more governmental level, like what their plans have been for the Empire, things like that. Anything that might you know, like the things that they don't really tell the public, like tell the people, but that they themselves as the gods have like talked about with each other. If there's any records of like meetings or things like that.
For the purposes of this, and for reasons that you'll figure out later in this episode, we are going to be tempting fate here a little bit as we're trying to find a little bit more information.
Hello? How is this tempting fate? Okay.
So we're learning a little bit more. I am the GM. We're just low. I am God. For this purposes here, a skilled ally is lending you a hand. Someone can lend you a hand if you want, but that's up to Omera's discretion if they want somebody to help you out.
I think I would recruit Azul if they're not busy, because I think Azul might have like a little bit more insight into how these kinds of like, being a nearest aspect might have a little bit more insight into like how these kinds of things go.
Yeah, you could take that. You have no other option. I gotta get that one. You have clearly other options.
Always a choice.
And you're far from any god that wishes you harm. Yes, you are. So you can add a +2 that is bad boy.
Okay. I got an 8.
An 8? Look at you go. Look at that. You get through it mostly unscathed, and the fate is square with you for now. Or spares you for now. Same thing. But with that, you see, kind of looking through, there's a couple of notes, and you can see that these notes, you haven't seen it before, but you start to see these notes are from a group within the Empire. You know that the Empire has a Senate. With any kind of Senate, it has its own various factions within it. Specifically, the ones that you see here that are talking about is something called the Sunspire Movement. Now, this rings a bell in your mind as your brother was part of this same movement. Pretty much these people, a little bit different than what most people in the Empire are. These are people that are trying to get rid of the restrictive legislation that has kind of formed since kind of various events in the Empire's history. So it's very much giving power to the people. And to be honest, people see this sort of movement or these sort of faction within the Senate as the same way you pray to a god or you look up to a god. It's that same sort of energy of belief in them. which is a bit strange, but also you can connect a bit of dots here. Primarily, yeah, no.
No, you finish.
That's pretty much it here. That's what you're kind of getting here before I delve into anything more. But what are you trying to do here?
I was gonna ask, is the Sun Spire movement, are they like separatists or?
They're not separatists. They're more of like, how would I describe it? A very laissez-faire kind of movement.
Okay,
Very much
I
less
see.
government control. They still believe that an empire is necessary,
Mhm.
but they feel that the restrictive legislation within it limits the individuality that made these territories worth taking.
I see.
It's like, why, if we're going to take all these mines and whatnot, rather than trying to centralize everything and making it very much we have to answer to a domain, we should be able to govern ourselves. That right was taken away because of a war long ago that most people tend to forget because they weren't really around, and you were young at that time as well. But the war led to the very much we don't trust mortals with their own legislation and power. We will be the heads. So they're trying to reverse that, or at least trying to get a middle ground.
I see. So basically advocating for more like regional governance rather than like the sort of
Imperial,
empire.
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Heard, noted. Did Yakin talk a lot about this movement, like when we were before, we had our falling out?
He talked about it just like anybody would talk about work.
Okay.
You know that he believed in it very much, especially with, what your parents have kind of taught you about, when he's kind of learned of like sacrifices and whatnot, which is very much of like a soldier's life isn't worth much, and we have to determine that value. So he came in from that veteran kind of standpoint of like fighting for them. He joined up with them. You would know at least that Ophelia, one of your other compatriots, was part of this movement along with their sister, which is a very big thing of like the imperial family doesn't like their mother's actions. It's a big, very upheaval, so it's got traction. And I think the thing that you keep tying onto is there's belief in it. There's power in belief, especially within the world you live in. So you don't know exactly what they do with it, but you do know that these people have pull. And you can kind of think maybe they're fighting against the Empire too, but in a more subtle way.
Okay, noted. I think Omera makes like obviously will not like take any of the documents with them or anything like that, but is gonna make mental notes about all of this information and is going to basically intend to talk to Aiden about it later.
Fantastic. With that, you proceed to get dressed, having that all together, and as that happens, the camera slowly shifts. Night begins to fall, and soon we find ourselves inside of a carriage. You see that luckily there was a poor man on the side of the road that was trying to get to the capital, and Aiden, being Aiden, said, "Oh, I'll help you," and then put him in a chokehold and left him in a nearby brush. And with it, kind of took it for your own use. But you proceed to make your way into the city itself, and the carriage going through it, very lustrous, very red velvet. There is a air of luxury that even Mali doesn't dare taunt around, because it shows a little bit of pompous and inequality to it. But this is the capital. No one really cares. The gods live here. If they can live here and do what they can do, anything is possible. So flaunt your wealth. Believe in what you want to believe. But as the carriage begins to go through, walking through the city, or in this case, riding through it, is like a dream, as the capital itself of Harkin's Sword sits on a clear blue coast, as it is littered with a number of buildings and streets encasing the entirety of what it means to be in an era of innovation. From airships floating in the sky, from propaganda of the Empire's might, painted with the sort of masked vestige of the Empire and the enlightenment that the Empire has provided. everything within this place shows the state of mind that this capital tries to blast everywhere within the continent, and it's within its regions. As you're riding through, do not describe your outfit just yet, but you do notice that Aiden is here as well. He very much looks like, you know how they dress, if you dress your boy for church, in the sense of like, does not like what he has on, is constantly adjusting the collar, very much tugging at it. You can see that he has what looks like to be an amalgamation of lavish blue and gold, very much of the region. You see he's got one of those, like, not ascots, but like very much like the puffed out pirate shirt that's in the middle, and he's just like not having it. But with that, looks over to you and sees that, especially what you kind of learned, kind of looks in you can see on your face that you have the information, and kind of goes, are you all right? You look like you're a little bit preoccupied in the mind.
I'm just thinking about what we're sort of getting ourselves into. I mean, I was thinking that we're going to be in very close proximity with people who are important for deciding the future of the Empire, and do you know anything about the Sunspire movement?
I know little. Think they're for the people. They think they're the true revolutionaries. Not with their fists or violence, but with their minds. They try to do good work, but I don't believe Empire scum for a second.
That's fair. I hadn't really thought about them very hard, even though, I mean, my brother Yakin is technically part of it, and I just never really thought very hard about it, but I saw some of Isabella's notes from meetings with the other Archons, and they came up a lot, actually. A subset of the Senate, a very powerful subset of the Senate, it seems. They have quite a bit of sway in the government, and I know that you don't trust people that work within the Empire for very justifiable reasons, but I was just thinking, I mean, if they want something different, and we are going to be in close proximity to perhaps some of their members, it might be worth that, you talk to some of them and convince them to help in some way.
I mean, I know you're kind of... I don't mean to be rude, but what they want is a revolution. They want to change the way the Empire works, but the problem is they still want the Empire. We want a rebellion. We want the dismantling of them. We are not the same. They want to make sure that the Empire is still an entity. The rest of us would like our own autonomy, away from answering to gods and people who think themselves better than us.
Have you not thought that perhaps this is ample ground for recruitment? Maybe there are some people who could be amenable to the rebellion itself, or they might have information that could be useful. All I'm saying is that these are people who, at the very least, are a step closer to what it is that we want than the Empire themselves, and they have power within the current structures. It just might be useful to use that to our advantage, I'm not saying...
The question is, I know, but see, would you be giving the same answer if your brother wasn't within this little club?
I think so. I mean, again, it's just information, right? It's just another tactic to get what you want. I'm not saying abandon your end goal. What I'm saying is this might be another means to that end. You were saying yourself that you could use all of the people on your side as possible, right?
I'll think about it, and if anything, maybe you might have a better time convincing them than I can.
Maybe. All I know is that the Anir's children are part of it, and that feels pretty big to me.
Do you trust them?
Well, I went to school with Ophelia, and she was lovely at the time. Of course, to be fair, I thought the same thing about Titus, and that very quickly changed and was proven to be incorrect. So there is always room for error, but at least from what I knew of her, Ophelia was good and very smart, and if she believes that the Empire needs to change, then that might be a perfect in. Especially that close to the Emperor himself.
We'll ponder on it. But you should get ready, we're almost there. As you see, he really wants to just cut this conversation quick, as the idea of working with anyone in relation, especially the children, is just a nasty notion that he doesn't want to swallow. But as that goes down and the cart turns around, we begin to see the capital, or specifically the Tower of Reminiscence. You see that this building is a little bit infamous only for it being one of the tallest structures within the city, next to the Emperor's Palace, as it has a multitude of different layers shooting off. And as you turn the corner, you see and hear boom, 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 fireworks of dazzling displays firing off as everyone is going about, as you coming about a turnabout where people are unloading themselves off from the transportations that they have taken. With that, you turn about. Aiden at first is very much keen to get out and goes first, but out of respect, turns their hand over and opens their hand for you to take. And as they take it, please describe what is Omera wearing?
Who are they wearing to this event?
Who are they wearing?
Isabella. No, I'm kidding. So, I mean, technically, yes, that is true. We're coming in from this carriage, right, that Aiden had stolen. So I think we see the outside of the carriage, and we see Aiden standing there with his hand out, and out comes Omera's hand to grab Aiden's, and they step out. And the first thing that you not even see but hear is the sound of thunder, is the sound of storms, as the fabric of Omera's outfit moving creates this rippling, rolling sound of thunder as with each step that they take. And Omera steps out, and they are wearing a dress. No a suit, no a combination dress and suit. It's this entropic outfit that changes shape and form. Every now and then you blink twice and all of a sudden it's taking on a different silhouette than it was before. Sometimes tight in the waist, sometimes more loose. The skirt is flowing, they are pants. It is constantly shifting and changing. And with every shift and change, there is that same booming thunder. And it's very clear that Omera has made some changes to this outfit that belonged to Isabella, their mentor, and it is the changes that have been made is that you can see sort of all along the edges, almost like an embroidered like trim to the outfit, are vines and roses that are sort of blooming and coming out. But the further and further you get to like the end of the outfit, the more that the roses are in stages of decay, until at the end of the outfit you can see like dead petals like falling off and leaving a trail kind of like behind that disappears magically as Omera walks. And so it is this blending of storms and entropy, everything that Isabella was, everything that she had taught Omera, combined with this new form, this new domain that Omera has claimed for themselves, one of death and of life merging together.
You swear even though your mentor is dead, they smile from the clouds above. And as you do get out, you do put your mask on right quick to make sure nobody looks, as you do see a number of cameras flashing in the distance. Especially with the vestige you have brought, yes.
If I may, the mask is like made of like mists and clouds. Like it feels very incorporeal almost, in a sense of like if you were to like put your hand through it, it would just like go right through. It is just like clouds like forming along Omera's eyes.
Lovely, lovely. You see Aiden puts on his mask. Whether or not he did this on purpose or not, it is that of a bright red. Of flames, of change, but for the moment wears it as the two of you go about, flashing cameras, the two of you walking in, trying your best to blend in. There's an elevator that is sort of in this opening of this building as you sort of enter in with a number of other folks, and you proceed to go up. What's that? As the elevator going in, Orchestra Kid Andrew's coming in, folks.
Okay, band kid, let's go.
Not band. That's an insult. Orchestra. I'm sorry, band folks, but that's a line. Don't you dare! Don't you dare.
Hey, I used to be in band.
No, that was the Eternal War there. But the Orchestra Kid. No, much love to both. But as you're in the elevator going up, you see that there is just various structures that you can kind of see. It's one of those elevators that is like, you can still see through it and you can see the various levels, but you finally get to the hall of the tower. And with that, as the doors open up, brightness fills in the darkness of the halls around you of this tower, as any dark colors are washed away with vibrant ones. Music playing as this 3-level dome-like structure, which is the Senate usually, has been repurposed with campaign banners of new people seeking re-election, laughter, dancing of the most formal and elegant kind, discussions of the Empire's top officials discussing politics, and with senators basking in success of another year in the Empire's history. As it is, to say lavish would be an understatement. More gregarious, if anything. But as you enter in, a number of things you notice. On top of everything, you see there's a garden way. You do notice what you think is Ophelia, but actually is not. You see, in fact, it is their twin. You see, and you know them to be Irma. Irma looks exactly like Ophelia with the same sort of green eyes and brown skin, but to make sure that everybody understands, no, I am not my sister. They have dyed their hair a deep blue. As their dress is more of this long gold that seems to be on fire a wee bit. You see they have gloves that go over to their hands, over to their elbows. As you see, the blue hair is done up in a way so that they can see the full beauty that is one of the children of the Empire. As their mask is made of sapphire. That is one person you do notice in this instance. You do not see anybody else. You don't see Ophelia or you don't see your brother. But for this moment, that's all you see.
Question about Irma.
Yes.
She and Ophelia are twins, right? Did
Yes.
Irma also attend the academy, or was that just Ophelia?
Ophelia went there because they had certain interests within innovation and all that. They were a little bit more of a scientific mind. Irma is, not to say a party killer, you have met them occasionally, but they're very much the more serious sibling, as they were the first one born by a couple seconds. So they're technically, in the lies of the land, heir to the Empire. but they decided to go more of a formal route. They more of interned around the place and slowly built their career without any formal education.
I see. Okay, so then that means that like Irma and I would not have really crossed that many paths like too
Maybe a
often.
birthday or two,
Okay.
but not anything of a long formal sense.
Gotcha. So knowing that that's kind of our relationship, Omera is going to sort of point out, like very subtly, Irma to Aiden. Hey, that's I'm sure you know, but that's one of the emperor's children. I've met her at like their birthday like one time. So do you want to go say hello with me?
I guess, he puts the arm out. You're gonna have to walk me through this because I'm seething in the inside, so.
That's very okay. Hey. And Omera's going to turn Aiden to look at them and is going to hold him just like very gently by the hands. I know that this is really, really hard for you, being around all of these people. So, I wanted to say that thank you for being here, first of all. I know that you're doing it for reasons greater than yourself, but even still. And just, I'm gonna say this with love. Don't start any fights.
He laughs a little bit to himself. I will try my best, and thank you for understanding.
Yeah. Just remember why we're here, okay? We're here to free all of the people that they've captured. And that's the plan. That's the goal. Everything else is just on the side to that.
He kind of fixes himself up a little bit. Let's go over and talk to Irma, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hope that this doesn't go terribly. And Omera is going to, I think, like hold out a rare arm for Aiden to take, and the two of them will walk over to Irma, who I'm gonna try to like catch Irma like in between conversations. So like just as like one conversation is ending before another person can kind of come and like start talking to her, I'm gonna like slip us two in basically.
Yes, and as you're going through, a little bit strange. You know their sister has that very British, but also a little bit more of a suave voice to it. And Irma doesn't really have an accent. You see that whether it be because of the regionality thing or them spending time apart, you see Irma kind of speaks a little bit less, more assertive in the way they speak. As you see, they kind of go, well, yes, Senator, we are very happy that we were able to win over greater legislation and autonomy for the baking legislation. We know that what happened in Mali should have never happened. The rebels have clearly taken up a new step, but I am empowered that we vetoed the bill for increased imperial security, because that's not going to solve this problem at the end of the day. You see one of the guys go, well, I say, back in my, call me old-fashioned, but usually when someone comes into your house with a gun, you pull a gun out and shoot them right back. Yes, but we're not dealing with bandits, we're dealing with our own people, so I would advise you to take that into consideration, Senator. Especially with you being reelected, the last thing they want to hear is your solution is more arms in a country where money seems to be more needed. And he kind of stutters a little bit before he kind of walks off in a bit of shame after he kind of got his ass handed to intellectually, and kind of, you see Irma go, and kind of drinks a nearby champagne.
And Omera will kind of like take that moment to slide in and will say, so I see that you are still championing, to some extent, the safety of the people. Well, as a resident of Mali, thank you, Irma.
You see they look surprised. I thought no one escaped from the culling of Malay.
Well, and Omera will kind of like, just like very casually, like look to the side and then look to the other to see if like anybody is trying, like eavesdropping on their conversation at all.
I'm gonna roll real quick. I'm very curious.
You're gonna roll?
I'm gonna roll a luck check real quick. I don't get to roll
Screaming.
much. Let me have this. Let me have this.
You're the GM, you can just decide.
It's not the same. I don't get the same rush. Fantastic. I'm gonna roll real quick here a luck check. If I know where to, if anything, I'll roll a quick luck check real quick, even or odd.
Ooh, oh, pressure. Evens.
Even?
No.
For the moment, looking about, you can see there's nobody listening to you.
Are you lying to me or is that real?
You're gonna find out.
Oh my god,
We'll
I'm
see.
gonna kill you. Okay.
Right, you roll even or odd, baby. It's luck. All right.
I'm
It's
gonna
fair.
kill you. Okay. Seeing that Omera thinks anyway that nobody's listening in, Omera is just gonna say, well, I am living proof that isn't true. Living proof of perhaps the different ways in which the Empire has been moving a little bit questioningly lately.
For my purposes here, are you trying to let them know, like, hey, I'm a mirror, or are you just being a little bit coy in the sense of, I believe in...
No.
as well?
I think Omera's goal here is to be like, well, I am somebody from Mali who escaped, so, like, think about the implications of, like, what else is the Empire, like, lying about,
Okay, so
right?
you're just trying to...
Yeah,
get
trying to
them
sow doubt to be like, well, see, the Empire's kind of being a little shady.
Fantastic. With that, they kind of go, well, thank goodness you are alive. Interesting, to say the least, as we thought everyone was dead, but clearly that is not the case, so that'll be a very interesting conversation to have in our next Senate meeting.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is there a way for me to suss out whether Irma is lying or being in any way deceitful? Because I know that, like, a very significant population of the people of Mali is being, like, held captive in this very building. Is Irma genuinely unaware that that's the case?
Feel someone or something out. So this
Yeah.
is a give and go. So with that, if anything, I guess I'm gonna answer this. What feels welcoming on the surface? They have no idea in the sense that people are being held here. You very much see, even though they are part of this movement and that there are individuals within it that are a little suspect, they generally are fighting the good fight. They are a senator trying to do their best to limit the powers of their parents, which is a very complex relationship, but it does show how strongly they feel about things. This is a passionate person that's willing to go against family in order to make sure people have the freedoms that they used to enjoy. And that's kind of the welcoming thing on the surface. But for your part here, what feels dark or unnerving when I peer deeper?
Irma's lack of information, or like lack of, I guess, like true perspective over what's going on in the Empire is what feels dark and unnerving for Omera in this moment. Because if it's obvious that Irma is genuinely trying to help and like doesn't know this, that means that, you know, even as the heir to the throne, Irma doesn't know what the hell's going on, then like that's concerning, right? Then that means that there's a level of like secrecy and like obfuscation that's occurring at the like within the Empire. And honestly, at this point, Omera's not even sure like who exactly is pulling the strings, so to speak, in that case. Like, is it Anir, or are people even going behind Anir's back to do this? Like, is he even involved in any of this? Like, Omera's starting to really question, like, who's involved and why and what are they doing? Like, it's all just creating, I think, a little bit more of, like, a tangled web of political motivations that Omera doesn't understand at this point in time. And so...
I think... as you're kind of thinking, doing that, you do see Aiden kind of butts up and kind of goes, good senator, I'm just curious. I heard you talking about the rebels before. What are your feelings towards them? Do you feel that they're doing your cause justice? You see, he's a little bit coy in the way he speaks as he grabs one of the nearby champagnes. Well, the rebels have a good heart, in the sense that I do believe that they are bringing up issues that are something we should be looking into, such as individual freedoms, taxation, and a number of various things. But I feel that the way they are going about it is not exactly the right way. Violence is never a good way of starting off peace, in a sense. We don't make violence against people we want to work with later, in this, if that makes any sense. Why cut the hand that's going to help you on later on? I just feel that it's not diplomatically the right way of going about things. You see Aiden go,
I'm very
Interesting.
curious, Irma, Senator, whether you would feel the same way if the Empire was proven to be engaging in violence against its own people. Not even against rebels per se, but just against its people who are uninvolved in any of these political dealings and machinations.
You see, it's a little bit squirmish here, as it's a tough question they would be more expecting from a reporter rather than a further party goer here.
I am a secret undercover reporter. No, I'm kidding.
This is Elliot. Molly Times. What do you think about? How did you get in here? But you see that they're very much look back. I'm in a very complex situation. I am heir to this empire. I have seen what happens when people start fighting each other, and I've seen what it's led to. It led to the destruction of various houses. Dos Dios, along with the Coldwells, they all died from infighting. And I feel that we want to avoid that. It's a lot of tragedy and heartache that happen in those instances here, and I do not believe that we should be actively fighting our own constituents and subjects, but sometimes there are need for a heavy hand. Sometimes there is rebellion that has to be quelled because it endangers the very people we are trying to protect. I walk a very thin line between the Empire and the Sunspire movement. Though I am mostly on the side of the movement, there are times where I must go with my parent, as the Empire is necessary for protection and security.
Damn, she was so close. Omera, I think, will just nod very politely and will say, well, Senator, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I was wondering, where exactly is your sibling, Ophelia? I would love to get a chance to talk to them.
Well, you can check by the wine. You can check on the dance floor, maybe. Probably a dance floor. So she was with a handsome young gentleman, so...
Well, thank you. And Omera will just kind of bow very respectfully to Irma, and will take Aiden by the hand, and will kind of head towards the dance floor, trying to find Ophelia. And while we're
kind of heading there. No, you continue.
Just while we're going there, I think Omera is going to say, well, I don't think that we can necessarily trust Irma with the information, but I have a feeling that Ophelia might be more amenable.
Oh, yes, we don't trust sibling 1, so we'll go to sibling 2. I told you, and you're not listening to me, that these people don't like us. They think we're their little subjects, like some kind of fiefdom.
There's no harm in asking, And even if it turns out that Ophelia is just like his sister, then, well, at the very least we will know who the enemies are, right? Who you can't trust. Yes
indeed. With it, you proceed to the dance floor. You can see it's kind of a section here where there is a number, maybe about 8 couples at the moment, going in a very long vibrato of a dance, very formal in a sense, the palms touching palms, very Bridgerton vibes for everybody out there. As they are going about and doing their dance, you see, trying to look for Ophelia at the moment, you feel a tap on your shoulder.
I turn around.
You turn around, and with it you see a familiar vestige, for you at least. You see their bright red skin with their black antler-like horns, and in between their mask, which is a fiery red, their yellow eyes peering at you. As you see, they wear something of amalgamation of dragon skin in a sense, of that glittering of a red dragon in a sense. It's a combination of like a suit, really more of a suit than anything. You see a bit of a tail has been put out towards the end of it. Very dazzling, painting a picture. Everybody knows who this is. This is Daros, one of the Archons. You see he approaches you. Well. I feel that we have met before, have we not? Oh, allow me to introduce myself, and he kind of does a little peek. Daros, Archon of, Valor in the Forge. It's a pleasure to meet you.
And
waits for a name.
what was the house or whatever that we agreed upon again that Josiah said? We were lords of...
Espen,
that's the one. And Omera will kind of like stiffens for a second seeing Daros, not having expected him to show up, which is perhaps like silly in hindsight, because we are literally at the Unification Day ball where like theoretically all of the Archons
what are you doing
are
here? This is my house.
like theoretically all of the Archons are gonna be here, so like that's perhaps a little silly as an expectation, but still Omera is surprised to see them here and stiffens for a second before kind of the tension releasing from their bodies slightly, and they again like bow respectfully as Daros introduces themselves, and Ray holds out Rare hand in that very like, you know, like polite like a way of like of introducing themselves. Lords of Espen, myself and my partner here.
You see he gives very much bisexual look.
Oh my god.
And he goes, well, ain't you two a slice of honey cake? Fine sir, if you be so kind. A number is about to approach. I would be heartbroken if I did not get the chance to dance with such a lovely creature of the forest, or of the clouds in this instance. See, Aiden gives a look to you just like, is this okay?
And Omera just like nods and says, I will catch up with you afterwards. Probably best to mingle, talk to some people and see what you can learn.
I will do my best, my lord. She kind of awkwardly goes in. You see there's a number of people like, is he alright? Because they're senators for the most part. So it's just like, this dude is doing some old traditions. It's really okay, but you know, he's very much white boy with the, you know.
He's just
okay.
conservative, you know.
I'm sorry. But with that, he opens his arm out for you to take. If you'd be so kind.
And Omera will take it, but it's very clear that it's not a very thrilled prospect for Omera, a thrilling prospect for Omera to be dancing with Daros at this moment. But Ray will, and will kind of like allow Daros to move them onto the dance floor. And as Omera looks up at Daros when they're dancing, to what may I owe the surprise? I'm sure that you are aware of who it is exactly that you're speaking to.
Well, as you two begin to get into the dance floor and he bows towards you, I just want to make sure my winning duck, in a sense, is feeling all right. You got a little bit of on your nose as you notice that there's a bit of blood coming from it.
Omera very quickly wipes it and notices the blood on Rare fingers, and will just kind of
Allow me, kind of gets a little uncomfortably close and wipes it off for you before going back.
I don't exactly love the way that you describe all of this like it's some sort of horse race. What exactly is it that you want right now?
Well, it's more of a game, really, as he spins you around close. I was just a little worried about your health. The last thing I want is for you to die. Not before the real fun begins, before he lets you off.
The real fun?
I think, yes, the real fun. Most of it is in the garden, if you know what I mean. A little medicine there for you, but real fun.
Please enlighten me. What exactly is the real fun that you're waiting for, that you want to make sure that I'm alive for?
I know there's a question that you have pondering as you whispers in your ear. You're pondering in your mind. Why is an archon that I've never prayed to in my life helping me? Why is this handsome fella doing so much to save my life? And why is he not telling everyone right now that a murderer stands among them?
Omera tenses up their entire body at Daros's words. Not even at the fact that Daros is close to them, but it's the things that they are saying. And Ray just kind of moves slightly. And I suppose that you are going to share the answers to those questions with me?
I will. I asked 3 questions, so to make it a little bit of a fun, as he claps, and you clap side to side, as it's part of the dance. Very late on tempo.
Amanda's a little late.
Just very late. They're doing the Cupid shuffle, and you slid a little bit too late. But with that, ask away. I am an open book as long as the song goes on, so if you got questions, ask them. I'm an open book. Simple and clean.
Simple and Clean plays in the background.
That was by accident, but
You're talking to a Kingdom Hearts bitch. You can't say that.
Lost my eyes to Kano Hearts, so we're on the same level.
Omera dancing next to Daros. I think their hands are kind of touching at this point, and they are sort of encircling each other in this dance. And Omera looks steely-eyed into Daros's own yellow eyes through that blazing fire of a mask. What is your interest with me? What do you want from me? And no vague statements, no riddles or clever turns of phrases. No, I want it direct and plain. What do you want from me?
Like Phantom of the Opera, he takes you close, and you begin to twin and sprawl around the room as you begin to move. Tell me, when you look around this room, what do you see?
And as Daros spins Omera and twirls Rem, Omera gets I think a view of the entire room as rare vision, I think, just like passes over all of the different inhabitants dancing at the refreshments table, like talking and laughing and debating each other on political theories and legislations and whatever. I see a room full of people who are gorging themselves on the suffering of their people, and perhaps not even able to see that that's what they're doing.
Indeed. You want to know what I see?
What?
I see a bunch of weak-willed politicians in place of what the Empire needs to survive. It needs strong soldiers, as he lets you off to spin a little bit, and kind of walking about the place. It needs stalwart leaders, as he takes you, and as you stop, you both look in the direction of Aiden, who's kind of looking about the place. But more importantly, it needs a glorious war to kill the weak from the strong.
And you think a perpetual state of war is going to bring about prosperity and happiness for the people of the Empire?
It did before. Wasn't even my planning.
I think you are confusing your own rise to power with the people's well-being.
Do you think, gun for the throne? You think I want to be the Empire? The Emperor of all, the God Maker? No, darling, I don't. I know my place in the world. I'm not good at paperwork, unlike some people in this room. I have a dream. A chance for my followers to die a good death. And you will usher in that new dawn. My beautiful, as he gets a little bit close again. Not anything of uncomfortable or without consent in that sense, just more of the dance. My beautiful God killer. My handsome God killer.
I understand that you are the Archon of Valor. But do you really think that a perpetual war is the solution to any of the problems? A good death, that's what you want for your followers? And what about their lives? Do those have no meaning for you? What does it mean to have a good death if your life is spent in utter turmoil, in fear, in squalor? What does it matter if your death was good or bad or glorious or valorous, if the way that you lived wasn't even a life?
Because in war, people find themselves. The power of their age in looking another mortal in the eyes, stabbing them to the chest. I would give anything to feel that experience for the first time again, because that, my dear, is true power. Control over life and death. Something you have been gifted with. I would have never imagined that little child in the woods would accomplish such wonders.
I think you're confused. You have confused war with power, battle with control. You are the Archon of Valor, not an arbiter of life or an arbiter of death. You are a means, not an end. Do not forget yourself.
Is that a threat?
Merely a suggestion. The Archons have their own domains, realms, concepts, abstractions that they lord over, and it does not do for an Archon to step out of line.
I know giving my blessing to you was some of the best work yet. As you see, he does touch your face a little bit, as he touches particularly your tattoos.
What do you mean?
Do you truly believe that an Archon of love and seasons would give you such, pricks his finger on one of the tattoos, such violent gifts?
Violence is part of nature.
The white stag, so far away from its grove. Flashback. I've always been there.
That was Ada.
A little bit of a lesson for you. Ada doesn't take creatures of land. They take creatures of the skies. A misconception among commoners.
And I think Omera is reeling, thinking back to that memory of the lake of the white stag, of the feeling that Ray had, connection, that divine magic that Ray had experienced for the first time in their entire life, and how that changed the trajectory of everything that they had known and believed in, and for that to be a lie, for everything to be a lie. Always. First Titus, and now Daros, the Archons, it's infuriating. It's infuriating.
As you're thinking, pondering, you hear him. You've always been a tool, Omera. But soon you will be a useful one. And you see, as he holds you by the side, the song is close to ending as he goes, one last question. Make it count.
How do I kill you?
Start the war. As he lets you go, bows, and slowly but surely he disappears into the crowd. And that is where we shall take a quick break, everyone. With that in mind, we're gonna take a quick break, so grab a snack, use El Baño, and we'll be right back. We'll see you soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. If in mind, the party is in full swing, so let's get back into it, folks, huh? I'm grabbing champagne and walking on in here.
I'm starting a
with that
bar
mind.
fight is what I do.
So Omera decks the nearest guy to get everybody's attention and says, listen up, fuckers. This is a revolution. Fantastic. With that, Omera, after all that is going in your head, dancing is still continuing. You do see Aiden is in the garden right now, kind of trying to take a moment to himself, and going through how are you approaching your dear paramour as they are taking their breath in the gardens at the moment.
Omera is going to, I think, take a second to try and, calm themselves down, level themselves from the information that was just very rudely and thrust upon them in this moment. Woe be upon ye, basically. And so Ray, takes a second to himself before heading over to Aiden and seeing Aiden kind of alone in the garden. This is the, balcony garden, right? The one that's, in the middle of the...
Yes, this is the balcony. Kind of it's very much like, Avengers Tower. It's just, out on the edge there.
Yeah, this is the bulge.
And you do notice... Yeah, you do know... yeah, this is that. And you do notice that you are kind of the few people here. There's not a lot of people here. This does seem to be... You do notice there is a couple that may be a little bit mischievous right now. Just very secretly making out. But for the most part, you guys are here.
Are most people inside dancing and stuff then?
Yeah, they're dancing and stuff. You did hear also a speech is gonna happen pretty soon as well. So you got some time now to do a little sneak.
So I think Aiden, I'm gonna say is maybe by a balcony or something out in the garden, and so Omera's just gonna come up and kind of lean up against the railing of the balcony and just look out into the vista that is around us. And just, without looking at Aiden, we'll say, I think my entire life has been a lie.
Kind of looks over to you. Spiritually? I thought you already kind of went through that already.
Yeah, I just didn't realize to what extent. And Omera will, turn their head to look over at Aiden. When I was younger, I thought that I had a moment in the woods with a white stag at a lake. And it was the first time I had ever felt close and connected to the archons, to magic, to divinity in any way. It was beautiful. And at the time, I thought it was Ada coming to, for whatever reason, to connect with me for a brief moment with my mortal life. And after that was when I got, and Omera kind of lifts the closest arm to Aiden, the tattoos visible along her skin. I got these. And I always thought that it was a gift from the gods. And it turns out it was more of a curse. It was Daros who gave it to me, not Ada. They've been playing me my whole life for some fucked up war that they want to start. That they never want to end.
You see, he looks over to you. At this point, grabs your hand, squeezing it tightly. Doesn't matter who gave it to you. It's how you use it. You've used it for good. You will continue to use it for good. The Archons like to speak like they know everything, but last time I checked, he isn't the god or Archon of foresight, is he?
Oh, I don't really have one of those.
You make your own destiny. He doesn't write yours.
And Omera gets up, lightly pushing themselves off of the railing of the balcony, and will slide closer to Aiden and put their hands on the sides of his face. Thank you. And Omera will lean in to kiss Aiden.
You share a moment. As you open your eyes, you notice a peculiar sight. The echoes in your mind. Darrow said he left some medicine for you in the garden. And you notice there is a statue of a physician spewing out water at the moment. And you swear, by the glint of your eye, you see a hidden latch.
And when Omera pulls away from Aiden and notices that, they turn to Aiden. Do we continue to take gifts that the Archons give us?
We sacrifice our lives for a future we won't see. They may think they can control these gifts, but we are the ones in control of it. So I say we take all they got, and we use it against them. To our last breath.
Then follow me. Omera holds out her hand for Aiden to take, and will lead him to this statue. Before we go diving into a fountain, Omera is going to again check to see around, are we mostly alone, being watched by anybody?
I will say, mostly alone. Reason why, you can hear the ding 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 of the glass. A speech is about to be made. You have a moment, so it's a little bit complicated here. Do you have a moment to do your stealthy and go about? But you're not going to be able to really hear this speech.
I think we will make that sacrifice in this moment. So we won't go to the speech and hope to dear God there's not a bomb being dropped in it.
And we murder you all. What?
Hopefully it's just like a boring whatever speech and there's no important information, Chris, in that speech that I'm missing. And Omera is going to, I think, hike up their dress suit as best they can, and then kind of lean over the edge of the fountain and stick their hand into where they think the latch is, and feel around for it and pull.
Yeah. The water begins to stop, and slowly you see it begin to sink in. A hidden staircase.
Oh shit, okay. Was not expecting that.
What were you expecting?
I don't know, like a vial or something. I didn't think there was a whole ass room down there. Omera, I think, stunned, looking over the edge, will kind of turn to Aiden. Darrow said that there is medicine for my ailment down there, and given that you and I are suffering from something very similar, I figure that it could also benefit you.
You lead the way. You're the more sturdy one.
Right. And Omera will walk first.
And with that, you proceed to walk inside as the mood shifts from the glitz and glamour to the dark depths of this tower. Soon, you begin to make your way down the stairs. You notice that this stone, it grabbing a torch real quick. It's impossible to describe how this place is. There is an ungodly amount of stairs here that you really have to huff it. And low visibility due to the night itself, but the dim glow slowly begins to come into view or vision as you get to the end of these stairs, as the glow of a sickly green light behind a wall begins to approach. You see that as you go in, you walk into what looks like to be an operating room, or some sort of ritual room. As you get flashes and images of the eerily similar but more sophisticated setup here that was in Scarlet's Bay, the prison. There's a number of surgical tools here, herbs for ritual casting, and a number of failed experiments. Those experiments, some of the people of Mali. Craniums opened to insert things into the brain, various parts of the abdomen open. You see they've been trying to insert shards of the stone that you have, a little bit similar in nature, into various parts of the bodies to see which is best. But it is bloody, it is messy, and they are mostly, for the all part, failures. With it, you notice there's a little bit of a map. 2 sections of interest in this place, including this one here. One, Sabis's study. Personal library and his chambers. Maybe there's correspondence there. Information. The other, you see, prison cells, holding cells. Maybe that's where the citizens are. Or maybe somebody else who can help you. And of course there's this room. There are notes on what they're doing here. Notes on stuff to maybe further understand what their plan is. So with it, got 3 options here. What are we doing?
Well, I mean, we're in this room first, and we're gonna have to be in this room before we go anywhere else, so might as well take advantage of that. So before we move to a different location, Omera is going to look around and have Aiden help for one, any like cure or medication or whatever for their sort of predicament. And then 2, in that search is going to see as well if we can find any documents that help us better understand like what experiments they're doing, to what end, and that kind of information. And if possible, I'm going to take those documents with us so that they don't have that anymore.
Fantastic. With that in mind, won't make you roll anything yet. It's kind of simple information, nothing. You're not defying fate yet. You go about and see the experiment notes. You see Zabis, well, an archon of intelligence, is a very messy person. Their notes are littered about and are more of like the ravings of a madman rather than something of a scientific mind, especially with your background. The notes you see here talk about transmutation. It is about changing a mortal into something that is not only monstrous, but controllable. The first set of test subjects were members of a certain war. You are reading this and Aiden is not, and I will tell you what happens and you can determine if you want to tell homeboy, but the first members of his little experiment were the Coldwells. By the Emperor's orders, they were given to become something more in service of the Empire. Savis performed rituals to try to produce a copy of one of Oblivion's strongest soldiers that they used to call Creeping Shades. They would hide in darkness without arousing any enemy movement, and they had the strength of 10 men. Lenora was the first of these successes, and the only one to really cement that this experiment can be reproduced, as they were captured a long time ago. But there is a problem with this. They were only able to produce this soldier of power because they had so many souls left from the war. So many lost innocents that they were able to use as energy, entropy, to turn this into something of an awesome power. And in order to create an army of these things, they're going to need a lot more souls if they want a standing army. Luckily, there's a bit of information that Titus has been communicating with Sabis, trying to secure more artifacts that may have this power. But you see that that's all you're getting from here, and any more notes you're gonna get from his study.
Okay,
with that
noted.
Information. Yep. I will say, with that information, you have 2 more places for purposes of time, but also to add a little bit of tension. You can only choose one of these. Aiden will go to the other and try to get it.
Okay.
With that in mind, you know who Aiden is. Sometimes he doesn't say things and keeps things close to his chest. So with that in mind, are you doing anything here before we make a choice between either you going to the study and learning more about what exactly Titus's plans is, or going downstairs and freeing the prisoners? If any are down there.
Well, first question would be, did we also find like medication or like or anything like that?
No medication, but you suspect there may be more information in the study.
Man, Doros is out here lying. Okay.
Where's my aspirin?
Yeah, literally. Like, you fucking promised me Tylenol. Okay. Okay. What do I think Aiden will fuck up less?
Not the I love my partner, but what will they fuck up less?
Look, he's hot-headed, okay? He's got, love him to death, but he's got not a great temper. Okay. I think Omera is gonna go to the study. To find like the medication for us, but also to learn more about what's going on, and is gonna send Aiden to rescue the survivors of Mali.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. With that, you go off, you go, stay safe.
You too.
You go into the study. This large, magnificent room with shelves of knowledge that even you can't comprehend. It seems like it ends forever. This place got a freaking skyline. As you can see, sort of the mist coming off of it, of how much knowledge there is here. You look through to find his study, and you find his journal. And specifically correspondence with Titus. For several months, Sabis and a number of other agents, high-ranking within the Empire, have been planning to overthrow the Emperor and take their seat of power. But to do so, they need a god of their own. The Archons are gods, but they're tied to Anir. You can't overthrow something that created you. It just is not going to work. Unless you have all 8, and all 8 are not going to back you up. They need their own god. But this is not Sabis's work. He is not the head honcho. He's not the brainchild. It is Titus. Titus believes that he can repurpose his magic to create the Infinity Machine. The great lie. Omera, your eyes are opened in this moment. During the first cataclysm, they were the Archons mortal, and they descended as gods, but it didn't make sense. Why them? People said they won the war, they defeated a great villain. They were chosen. It is a lie. On the battlefield, when they fought Oblivion, they had found remnants of the Boundless, the first gods. The Infinity Machine was a creation of theirs. With enough souls, it could turn anything, or anyone in this instance, into a god. So much death had happened at that time of the Third Cataclysm, it was a global conflict. And as they pushed Oblivion back, they made a choice. If they are the heroes of the age, they should determine how the age goes. And a bunch of mortals in that decision became gods, using the souls of fallen brethren, sons, daughters, fathers, mothers, brothers and sisters, and use their essence to become archons, perpetuating the great lie that they were given this magic. Titus learned of this lie, and rather than scream at the hills of this heresy, he saw opportunity. He saw the machine, he sees its flaws, he knows how to make it stronger, to make himself more powerful than Nier. He believes like you do, Omera. The Empire is flawed, but he feels with his guidance, it can be something more. Various people within the Sunspire movement believe the same, and a number of gods also as well. You see, writing correspondence, looking for artifacts, using his position to climb up the ladder as Vizier to grab whatever he can to build this machine slowly but surely, and he needed one piece to complete it. The shard of stone embedded in your skin. He was going to become a god killer himself. He had everything lined up. He poisoned Johanna to go mad in that room. He created a conflict where many people died. He created the perfect scientific conditions for a god to be made. But then a variable came into it. You. With your audacity and your valor came in and ruined his plans. But a scientist will not be deterred by variables. No. He came up with another way. Mali. He needed pain, suffering, and souls, and he got it by writing an edict to cause a volcano to form and to kill and to destroy an entire city's worth of people, for the most part. Some of the prisoners he has are in this tower, but the rest that he managed to grab, the stronger souls, have all been transported to Aenir's tower, as he is close to the completion of this ritual. First bit of information you grab. The second you see is from a book. After recently turning into a god, he sees that he's in a bit of trouble. He's also dying. Mortals aren't meant to be gods. Without the machine to make him into a full god, he will die just like you. And Sabis did a little bit of reading. To make a long story short, you're not the first person to have this symptom. Another individual by the name of Kelfas Baelor, the Ranger of the Bonefell. This was an individual who was able to hold off the Third Cataclysm for some time before Oblivion was able to spread. They were a ranger that pretty much did guerrilla warfare for the most part, fighting off Oblivion with its own power, but didn't succeed, as he was only could fight the corruption for so long, and desperately left his post and went to Foundian, as he went to seek a cure that was in there. And you can see there is a picture that is torn out, but sort of the image that is left after whatever page was torn, an image of a great tree and a glowing owl shining and shimmering, saving this Sekiro. As you know, the cure, whatever it is deep within the woods of Familial. Ida's domain. Ada in this case.
Okay.
As you learn all of that.
Screaming, I can't believe that not even all of the people are here! I'm on a fucking ghost chase. Okay. Okay. 2 pieces of information that we have gotten. One point of clarification.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that Titus's notes refer to himself as becoming a god.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what has happened? Is that he has like fully ascended at this point, or is he like me in that like we're in that weird in between god killer
You're
stage?
in between. You're buffering in that sense of, in the sense of both of you are in that weird veil of life and death.
Okay.
Neither of you have shed your mortal skin, and neither of you have shed your divine skin. You are in a perpetual purgatory, and that the reason why you die is because you are trying to hold divine powers in a mortal body. You can't do that because mortal bodies can't handle that power. You can handle magic, sure, but can't handle divine power, less it being for oblivion as well. You really can't hold that in a body.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good. I just wanted to clarify because I was like, fuck, is he already a god? Because that's bad. That's bad. That would be worse. Okay.
But you both are on the same...
Yeah, on the same path.
You're both dying, yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay, other point of clarification. And it's okay if the answer is like, you can't tell me the answer to this question. But you mentioned that this machine, the Infinity Machine, and like the process of creating a god requires a lot of like death in order to do so. And that war as like conflict is an easy way to sort of get all of that. Daros keeps asking me to start a war. He's claimed all this time that he is like against everything that's happening. And that he's just kind of like acting on his own. But he's also a big fucking liar, is what I've learned. So basically what I'm asking is, does it seem to me like a reasonable connection that Daros is working with Titus? That the war that he wants to start is not just so that people can die good or whatever, but that it has to do with all of this as well? Or are those still like separate kind of things?
Feels someone or something out, or feels welcoming on the surface. Daros is no way involved in Titus's schemes, believe it or not, as much as you would hope so you can even be more justified to stab him in the neck.
Look, fuck that guy.
He is actually not involved in this. Whether or not if he knew about it or anything like that, you don't know, but he is not involved in this scheme to overthrow the Empire. His sense for war is generally because he sees everybody being these greedy little pigs in a sense that have kind of gotten gluttonous within the comfortability of not having a challenge. He wants the Empire to have a challenge because it will adapt and grow. This is something different. This guy wants to overthrow the nature of things.
Okay. And what feels darker and unnerving is that means that I and all of the others are fighting a war on 2 fronts, basically. We are fighting Titus's desire for upheaval in the worst way possible, and then also Daros's warmongering, his bloodlust at the same time. And that is difficult to be split in our attention and our resources in that way. So, okay. Omera feels like they've aged like 50 years in learning all of this information in this study at this point, honestly. Like, they're 80 years old now.
God damn.
I mean, they're dying. They might as well be. But I think more blood kind of trickles like out of Omera's nose, and Ray like wipes it off really quickly and kind of gathers these notes. Again, everything that I can take, I am going to take with me. So you could stop me whenever you're like, okay, this is like the most that a person can reasonably hold.
I can... be kind to you. You can grab this stuff.
Oh,
You kinda
really? Oh, really?
yeah.
Trauma man.
Yeah, you just, it's inventory. You just whoop, and just goes like, where are you hiding it? I don't know, but you got it. So you have this information. You can grab the key points. You can't grab everything, but
Yeah.
you grab the important bits.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Amanda's gonna grab as much as they can, and then before I leave to go and find Aiden, is there any, like, can I do like a quick sweep of the study, and is there anything of interest other than the notes? Like, are there materials or instruments or like, I don't know, like, this is Cybus's study, right? So is there anything else that I noticed that is like, could be useful down the line?
Real quick, tempt fate. Real quick, roll real quick for this to see if you can find us something.
Am I far from a god that wishes me harm? I think that's the only one I could maybe have.
You're not.
Damn it! Okay, straight roll that.
Straight roll, let's see what you get.
Please. No! I got a 6. Are you sure that I'm not far from a god that wishes me harm?
Sure?
Are you sure?
No. And in this instance here, as you try to look about for something that may be useful, you hear a scream. Not of pain, but of sorrow, as it echoes through the halls. What do you do?
I think I know what's going on. I think above table I know what's going on, but Omera doesn't. Oh, fuck. Okay. Omera hears this scream. Does it sound familiar at all? Like, is it a voice that I recognize?
It's Aiden.
Okay.
Sure.
God damn it. And Omera is going to abandon the search for something useful and is immediately going to go in the direction of the scream. Not like yelling or anything like that, because I don't want to draw attention to myself, but is going to very, very quickly help getting prepared for... I think Omera assumes that there's going to be like an altercation of some kind, so I think Omera is like prepared for a fight.
Fantastic. With that, you proceed to go down. Rushing down the staircase. You see rushing down, there's a number of individuals that are already free. People from Ali that you notice. There's a couple of soldiers here from the front. A very mixed imagery of people that are here, that are happy to see you being saved, and they're saving themselves. But as you rush, you see that this somber sound is coming from deeper, and you proceed to go down. As you do, the scream is not of physical pain, but of heartbreak. As Aiden is crying on the floor, and you see in a pin locked up in the far corner a monster that resides in the dark of the cells. And for some reason, he can't seem to hold himself together. You see that this person has large bat-like wings. Their skin has various infections of metal purple like you. They have jaws, tusk for ripping and tearing. Their eyes are dark purple. Their hair unkempt, unwild. As they chained, watching from a distance. As you see Aiden uncontrollably trying to keep himself together.
And in this moment, Omera, I think it clicks for the entry that they had read earlier about these experiments and how the Coldwells had been the first for these experiments to be conducted on, and how someone named Lenora was the only or the first, unclear, success of those experiments. And I think that like the two kind of like click in this moment, seeing Aiden's despair, that must be Lenora, whoever Lenora is, to Aiden. And Omera rushes over, and seeing Aiden will kind of envelop him into their arms and like squeeze really tight in that way where you're like trying to ground somebody who's kind of breaking down. and won't say anything, but will just kind of hold Aiden as he processes this information.
They turned her into a monster. These people have no morals. You keep telling me they're good ones. There's people we should work with. From the inside out, why do I want to work with some embers of something that's rotten and poisoned?
Omera will just squeeze Aiden tighter in this, knowing that this is not the time to debate political tactics with Aiden at this moment, that this is... And Omera will just, holding Aiden very tightly, will say, I'm so sorry that they did this to you and to your family. And to all of the other people that they... It's awful.
She was my mother. Who does this to a mother?
People who will regret what they have done, because we will make them regret what they have done. I'm so sorry.
You see someone, one of the prisoners, gonna go, we need to hurry. They're coming. Someone, I don't know who. Do you have a way to escape?
And Omera will kind of like, still holding Aiden, will move their arms like to Aiden's face and kind of just have him look at them. And very gently looking into Aiden's eyes will say, we need to get out, okay? We need to get out.
You see viciousness paint across their face. Yes. Let us see. You see he gets up and proceeds to walk out. He looks at the prisoners. He slaps in their hand the stones. You know magic? Yes. He gives the very quick instructions to them. We'll be right down. As you see, he begins to go out and he pulls a vial from his side.
Do I have time to like stop him?
Do you want? He's very much in a state of mind right now. You want to chop stab homeboy here?
Yeah, because yes, okay. I would like to attempt, if I can, if I may.
Now, you can either, if I know, inflict violence. You're not gonna. It's for the purpose of this. Is it very much?
Sure, you just want me to roll. Yep.
No, it is roll. Either inflict violence if you have a power, if you want to try to do that, or challenge someone dangerous is another thing. You can call him on his bullshit. That's another thing you could do. So you can physically grab him, use a power to grab him, or call him out on an emotional level.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm freaking out. I'm like, what is the best thing to do? I'm going to challenge someone dangerous.
Okay.
I try to talk him down because I don't think he'll enjoy a physical altercation.
I think for this here to make it very more thematic, what do you say? And then we shall roll.
Chris. Okay. Okay. Omera sees Aiden pull out the vial and doing the quick maths, quick calculation in their head. Omera knows that this is not going to end well. So they, I think, turn around and they do grab, I think, Aiden by the hand, like by the free hand, the one that doesn't have the vial in it, just to stop him in his tracks. So that he doesn't like run away. And Omera will grab his hand and very pleadingly looking into Aiden's eyes, will say, Aiden, I understand that you are hurting right now, and I do not want to take away from that hurt at all. But I know that you have spent so much of your life making decisions based off of that hurt. And I want you to be able to see that there is a way forward where that hurt doesn't have to dictate the things that you do anymore. You said that people only fear ghosts. No. They fear so much more than that. They fear death. They fear a loss of power. You don't have to go down this path of self-sacrifice in order to make up for all of the injustices, all of the wrongs. You don't. You don't have to make a decision that you will regret later. Please, just take a moment. Let's talk about everything. And then decide what you want to do. Don't make that decision here, right now.
In this instance, they care about your opinion.
Okay.
They think they're stronger than you. They do not in this instance. The crowd is on your side. I'll give you that. They're like, hey, don't fight.
The prisoners in the cell
Please
are
don't.
like, hi.
Please, sire, can we just escape?
Okay. No! Oh my god.
What did you get?
I got an 11.
11. Wait, 11? Oh, that's not bad.
What are you talking about?
Wow.
No, it is. It says you push too far. Your target reacts instantly and dangerously. This is bad.
You're right. As you say that, him thinking in his head. In slow motion, time slows down, Omera. As you see coming far across the hallway, Sabis. You see Ophelia. And you see Titus.
I'm gonna kill that motherfucker.
You see the three of them coming down the hallway, surprised to see that you're here. Looking over your shoulder, Omera, you see almost lightning crackle in Aiden's eye. He smashes the vial. It absorbs into his hand. I'm gonna kill you all. You see he embeds its hand into the ground using two boulders and throws them each way. You see Ophelia pulls out a rapier, immediately cuts one in half, while you see Sabis controls it and puts it to the ground. You see Titus deal with them. And you see he begins to walk behind. As you see the two, Sabis gets on two metal plates as he begins to float off the ground, and Ophelia, using magic, you see two other rapiers form on the side as a fight is about to begin. What are you doing in this instance?
I have a question really quickly.
Yes.
The prisoners, the survivors of Mali, have they been released?
They're behind you at the moment. They're released. So they were gonna go in one direction, but it looks like they're kind of backing out right now. So
Okay.
coming behind
But are
you.
they in danger at all, or?
They're somewhat danger. Some of them are. At the moment, the thing is, danger's coming from both them and Aiden, because Aiden blinded with fury at this moment.
That I
Does not
understand.
care.
Yeah. Okay. So paint me like a word picture of this hallway right now.
hallway, you see that left side just pure wall.
Okay.
Right side, various cages that are open at the moment.
Gotcha.
You do notice that there are some like windows, like the small, prison windows. There are some. So you do know that further out of this wall is just the sky below, in terms of like the open air is on the right side. You blow a hole on this. You do also have the arcane portal that they can set up behind you that connects instantly back to the airship.
How far above the ground are we? Because I thought we were underground, but I could be wrong.
You're above. You were high up, so you just kind of went. It's like a skyscraper, so you're kind of like in the middle.
Right. Okay.
So you have. It's still pretty dangerous. If you will die if you jump off.
Okay, God, that was basically the question. Was like how high are we? Okay, gotcha. Man, my fucking dice have betrayed me yet again.
I want to tell a story.
Christ. Okay.
You don't have to fight. Aiden looks like they are fight. So again, you
No,
don't.
I know.
It's whatever you want to do.
I know. I'm just trying to think about like what is the best way to handle the situation right now.
You gotta think. Your boy's about to go 2v1 against an Archon and Ophelia, who you know is trained, but also you got these civvies in the way that are naked. You just open someone.
Okay. First things first. I think Omera has two things that I want to try to do, but you can stop me and after the first thing.
I'll give you two after the events that have happened in your life.
You're my pity two moves. Okay. Okay. The first thing that I want to do is Omera wants to set up using the materials that we were gotten that portal. So I think like behind Omera, like away from the triplet that is threatening us right now. In the other direction, Omera wants to set up that arcane portal and is going to indicate to the people, to the civilians to like evacuate that way, to like whenever they see an opening that they can get in there to like book it and like get in there basically. That's the first thing I want to do.
Yep, nothing to roll because that's kind of your standard, so it's not too crazy at the moment.
Okay.
You're not really doing anything in conflict, so you set that up with ease, and everybody's kind of like understanding if they get an opening between, again, Aiden, massive pulsing with rage at this moment, and kind of they're dodging. They're in the cells very in and out of this, so they will try to get out when they can. So what's the second thing you want to do?
The second thing I want to do is Omera is going to, I think what they're going to try to do anyway is they are going to try to summon those crows from out of their tattoos, the leaves on their arms and their legs and crawling up their neck, changing into these feathers, and out from their skin bursts out a myriad of crows. I think even their like their dress and their outfit, what was once like the sound of thunder, I think like swells to the point that when the next sort of large thunder crash happens as Omera moves, there is this really loud cacophonous sound of cawing from the crows as they emerge, and Omera's scleras go pitch black as they try to instill specifically upon Aiden the fear that Omera has been cursed with.
Fantastic. With that in mind, you do get one from this because you've done this perfectly before. You can mark a strain if you're desperate for this.
I need Aiden to chill.
Aiden, chill the fuck out. Chill out. Fantastic. 2 for you here. It's a 2 for.
Okay. I got a 13.
Got a 13. The GM will describe how you also drain, terrify, or wreck what's around you. I will say in this moment, you throw out your crows. You see at this point, the other two that are trying to defend or trying to attack are like very much distracted at this moment, trying to get off the birds. You see Aiden understands the fear, what your wrath is. And in this moment, trying to throw off the crows, he hits into one of the nearby structure pillars that keep the tower up. And with it, you notice this tower, at this section at least, begins to move as this place is gonna crumble. Problem also, everyone on top, as you hear in the back of your mind, there shall be known as a monster.
Okay, got it. I will let you do things before I do a thing.
Fantastic. With that, Aiden, I'm gonna rip and... I think at this point, you kind of still succeeded, so he is more defensive as he goes backwards a little bit, trying to hold a defensive position.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm trying to like push him into the portal, basically, so that
Yeah, so
if
with
he
that,
ends up on the ship, like Jasea and like Azul can deal with him.
With that, he begins to go more defensive. With that, a couple prisoners are able to move out the side. You see, at this point, since the structure is falling, Sabis is going to do his best. You see, he pulls out these runes around his sort of his wrist, looks over the structure that was hit, almost pausing it and slowing it in time. As you hear Sabis say, "I only have so much energy to do this. You'll need to hurry and deal with them. Take the gold killer, forget the monster." You see Ophelia, sword at the side, goes towards you. As they do, get as close as they can, lightning speed, dodging out the way, and with that, a puff of gold dust rings in your nose. And for a second, you see multiple Ophelias around you. You do not know which one is real as they prepare to attack. I will say one strain for you, as you are kind of all these sort of hallucinations in the sense of you don't know which one is them as you hear them go, "I'm sorry, my love, but it's for the greater good."
And in that haze, in that feeling of not knowing which Ophelia is real, and in that way that reality kind of starts to shift, I would like to use my renown move. The dying. Specifically, I would like to gain a whisper from oblivion that fills my mind with visions of what must be done, and in this case, what must be done to preserve as much life as possible in this situation and escape.
Now, for point of clarification, when we mean preserve as much life, do we include the people on top?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Like, everybody that is in danger in the situation, whether they know it or not, like, how do we minimize casualties as much as possible?
With the whispers in your mind. It's ununderstandable at this moment, but you see Dawn comes into Vistage. "Let me control you. I can do this. I need you to give me control."
And in desperation, I think Omera allows Dawn to take over their body. And in exchange of allowing Dawn to pilot Omera in this moment, Omera will ask Oblivion back, "What doom do you sow in us both?"
You see Dawn comes in, takes control. You see he grabs Ophelia by the head and immediately, boom, hits her head into the nearby bar as he finds the correct one. You see something breaks, maybe nose-wise, but with it knocks her unconscious. As you see it hits the nose, head reverberates off the metal as they go down. And for what doom? You feel he walks towards... Actually, you know what? Repeat the question one more time before I make the decision. I'm just more clever. What do?
So according to the move,
Yes.
in exchange for this information, The question is, what doom does oblivion sow in us both?
He's gonna hold on to that in a moment. As you see, is creeping towards Abyss, but then looks over to Aiden. And you can feel a smile on the face. Before retracting back, you see Dawn gives you control, and at this moment, due to Dawn's work, he works fast, takes out the only person in here. You're able to run back to the portal as Aiden is behind, already running towards it. What do you do?
I have like one thing that I can do before I hop into the portal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If it is at all possible, I think what Omera tries to do in that moment, as I'm stepping backwards into this portal, and Omera is going to, I think, lift one of their arms and like sprawl it across the air, and as they do so, that shawl of fate arises in front of them again, and kind of very quickly, almost intuitively, Omera is going to connect to that shawl and try to find the chords that are divine in nature, and try to find Sabiss's thread specifically.
Fantastic. You're using a move here. You've done this perfectly before. Are you desperate to work in this instance?
No, I think no.
Okay. All right.
So is it
so
just one?
One, yes, because you're not close to the domain where you got this from.
Okay. Please. No! Why does this keep happening to me? I got an 11. I mean, it still works, but like...
Working. So what are you trying to do with this here before
I'm cutting Sabiss's thread in front of his fucking face.
So we're killing a god here?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think first and foremost, let's resolve that bad boy there.
Okay.
So you were killing a god. You're going to roll 2d6s for me. As you see, he is trying to hold the pillar that's there.
Okay, if things are going the way that they have been going, then this should be good for me.
Okay, yeah. Please roll low.
I'm gonna kill you. No! You cursed me! Motherfucker! No! I got a 6.
Got a 6?
Yeah.
Hey man, you win some, you lose some. You know what I mean?
What are you talking about? I haven't won a single one today. What are you talking about?
You were doing so good. With that, you grab it, look him in the eyes as you see this god is different. They haven't done any harm to you, to be honest. They're trying to save everyone on top. What does that make you? As you cut the cord, you feel something snap in their back. They look at you, the monster that you are, and say, "Thou shalt not know the true nature of their transformation." Before you see, he tries, still dying at this instance and will die in a moment, but is using the very last of their essence to be a hero. Something that you are not in this moment, murderer.
Omera, I think in that moment, as the power transfers, as Omera steals a power from Sabiss, he might be acting as a hero in this moment, but he has not been a hero this whole time. He has been enacting terrible atrocities upon people en masse for so long that he does not get to have this heroic moment in his death. And so that chrono break Omera will steal from him. And if I may, as he is dying, there's this, I want to say, like, this perfect shift of power between the two of them. And then Omera, if I may, is going to use the chrono break and bend it slightly so that that pillar that was broken is not just paused, but is reversed in time so that it is fixed before they leave.
As it fixes back, drains of life with that Eden goes. They got off easy. They don't get off easy. As he jumps into the ship.
And I will go with him and close the portal with all of the, ensuring that all of the, like, prisoners and survivors have come with us first.
Fantastic. You make sure everyone is in, and as the last people are getting into the portal, you hear Josiah go, "What the hell are you doing, Aiden?" You see, he pushes them out the way as he begins to go deep into the heart of the ship. He's clearly running towards something at this moment.
I'm running after him. What is this? What is he doing?
You are running after. You don't even get a moment to say, "So what's going on?" He took the key.
Come with me.
With that, the two of you chasing through as you close the portal, you hear Josiah go, "I want to leave now. Take the helm. Get us out of here." As you're running through the hallway, you see various sailors are being pushed on the side. You don't know where Aiden is going in this moment as you were chasing. With it, you get to a point in this place, but before you're able to stop him, you feel drained a bit as your overkill comes into effect. Josiah has to stop from it. Are you okay?
Don't worry about me. Just keep going. Come on.
With it, you catch it, but the door, and Aiden locks it.
Aiden, what are you doing?
They deserve death. A structure falling isn't good enough. You see, he takes the core, the tentacore, that you grabbed from the episode earlier while you were in Isabella's office, and proceeds to go to a device. As you see Josiah go, "Don't you fucking dare, boy."
Okay.
I will, before you think, I'm gonna set how serious of a situation this is. And do understand you still have doom that's coming for you in mind. Aiden is activating what we like to call a God Bomb. This was Isabella's ultimate weapon and one of the many things that they kept here. This thing will blow a crater into the city. Innocent, guilty, empire, not empire, does not matter. People will die on a grand scale. The city will be in contact, but it will have a giant hole in it where people, families, where people once were. He is activating it in this moment. Preparing to launch.
Okay.
Here's another problem for you. At the moment, everything around here thinks you're just another airship. You launch that bomb, and if anybody thinks is still alive to shoot at you, the ship is not making it out of this airspace.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Put you through it. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, I got you.
There.
Omera is going to... I would like to manifest a miracle. I am sacrificing my connection to Vortex. I think I am... Okay, I want to call upon that connection to Vortex for the last time that I possibly can in the most grand, divine way possible. And I think almost there is this like transformation within Omera themselves as they almost become part of Vortex and Vortex becomes part of them, and there are tentacles that are I think their tattoos shift and there are tentacles that erupt out of them. an infinite amount of them almost, as Omera like breaks open this door. And what I am trying to do is I am trying to essentially encircle Aiden, this monster that Aiden has become, encircle him in this mass of writhing tentacles to stop him from being able to do literally anything, to just subdue and hold him in a way that is literally impossible for him to get out of. And I will hold him there until the effects of the vial have, like, left his system.
You through the door open. As you see he's about to put it in, the tentacle wraps around, constrains, almost tying him up. They killed them. You could have just let this happen. I thought you loved me. What the hell is wrong with you? Choose a side, goddammit.
And Omera doesn't say anything, but will just keep him there, and will say to Giseo, how long does this normally last?
He's gonna need an hour to cool off, maybe two.
Okay.
You see, he keeps shouting, the both of you fucking traitors, all of you. You are still that lapdog, that little witch in the forest. Why don't you go back to the dirt and the muck? I hate you! I hate you! Look at me when I say it to you. And you see Giseo is very much it. He's not in his mind. He doesn't mean it.
And Omera just shakes her head. We'll talk about it after. And they just sit there, keeping this magic focused on manifesting this power that is far beyond anything that Omera is actually capable of, and pushing themselves and draining themselves of any energy, semblance of energy that they have left, just to keep him there. For the hour, 2 hours, however long it takes.
You walk away, and you still hear the echoes of his vicious insults, cutting words. You are nothing. You will never be anything. You're a murderer, just like the rest of us. You think you're better. You're worse. You're just as bad. You think you're gonna be different. You're just another monster. Shouting more insults and insults and insults, dagger after dagger after dagger, as you have to go into the solidarity of your room to escape. What is the last thoughts we get in Omera's mind, as your heart and mind have been shattered more than once today?
Only one. Only one thought. Everything in my life is a lie. Why should this be any different?
As the camera shifts away, we still have a question. What doom do you wrought? We cut over to the body of Sabis. Titus looks over it and smiles. You see he does something monstrous, the audience. When a god dies, that's it. There's nothing left in the tank. You see he is different. As you see, he uses everything from the bone to the flesh to the blood. And while our god killer here has gained power, Titus has gained so much more. As they halt their infection and slowly begin to reverse, as the sound of a low crackle fills the mind. And that is how we shall end it for today.
What are you talking about? What do you mean? What is happening?
Hey, believe it or not, homebrew, those rules there is not part of the game. So let's we'll get more fun. It's working.
Every time I feel like I got more information, turns out I did not. I don't know anything.
I don't know shit. We're at the end. Thank you for everybody for joining us for this hectic return back into the world of Forsaken. With that in mind, we got 8 plugs reverse order here. So with that, Humna, please, if you got any plugs, it's time to plug it in.
You said plug way too many times.
I know,
You gotta stop. You gotta stop.
Look, it's 11 o'clock. There's only so much improv I can do. Go.
Oh God. Hello everyone. My name is Hamna. I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer and producer. You can find me all over the internet at Lilith TTRPG until Chris destroys the internet, apparently. So, just like he destroyed my brain this entire episode. Yeah, what the fuck. If you enjoy watching me perform, you can catch me on Stella Luna, I believe Stella Luna TV's channel, here on Twitch on Sunday. We are going to be playing Paint the Town Red, where we play vampires who are really sad about being vampires. It's going to be a really good time. Everybody has really interesting characters, and I'm very excited for that game. So come check us out. And with that, I will pass things over to the one, the only, the trauma man, Chris Cologne.
Hey there, kiddo. I'm the drama man. With that in mind, thank you everybody for joining on here. If you want to follow me on the Twitters while it's still alive as I'm planning my invasion, with that, you can follow me at VR_Cologne. That's COLON. I just finished up Embers of Rage, so that's all over Bat House and all I know. Werewolf the 5e game that we did. Wonderful ending as well. So if you want to catch that up, you catch it on over there. Beyond that, doing Forsaken every Thursday for a little bit, and then I'm going to go on a little bit of hiatus while I work on stuff for fall. So with that in mind, thank you for joining us for another wonderful episode, and we can't wait to see you next week for another thrilling episode of Forsaken. Till then, everyone, have a lovely night.